You know, everybody knows me from the content that I do here, and I speak about this topic quite often. And I'm very animated when I talk about this topic because you only get one of them. I am a big fan of the idea of first impressions. You only get one of those opportunities. You should be bringing your best self to that one opportunity in hopes that you get a return call or a call back and a second opportunity and a third opportunity, so on and so forth. The idea of first impressions is very relatable. In all avenues of life, we've all been through it. We've all had to go through that moment. Whether it's a job interview and you present yourself to be the very best person that you can because you want that job. You meet a woman online or a dating app or however you meet your significant others nowadays. You sit down at that table, have dinner, man. You want that dinner to be the best dinner that you've ever had before in your entire life because you're only going to get one opportunity to make an impression so that you may get a second date. It happens in pro wrestling as well. Moments happen on a weekly basis. When the opportunity happens where we get a moment, you want that moment to be the very best moment that it could possibly be. I love a good first impression. I love a good first moment. Make it count. There were two talents on AEW television this past week that opted that they did not want another opportunity. Two former WWE talents that showed up in AEW that opted to walk out of AEW Collision. I don't blame them on a normal case, on a normal situation. But two former WWE talents walked out of AEW Collision on Saturday night because they wanted what they wanted, they didn't get what they wanted, and they potentially ruined their entire careers. Who is it? We'll talk about it. What's the situation? We'll talk about it. This is a very messy situation and something that, quite honestly, is very embarrassing. So we'll talk about that today right here on Off the Script. It is your Monday, November 10th, 2025. You know, I remember when I asked Solomon to be on TNT, I was afraid to ask him, even though I've known Jason for 7, 8 years now, 9 years now. And we've worked together with House of Glory and we've done things together and we've gone out to dinner. He's been over the house. But when I asked him to do TNT, I was afraid to ask him because he's very much like me. He's very to himself. He's very protective over his brand. And he doesn't like working with anybody else. So when I asked him, I was afraid that I might get a no. He was very receptive to the idea. He felt like it was time. And then when that first show, that first announcement, I wanted to get the perfect graphic for it. I wanted to make sure that first show was great, which was a great show, in my opinion. I didn't really like what I brought to the table because I was like half nervous. I was half excited. And then when things went on, man, we got more opportunities with more episodes. And it was just something that kind of blossomed into what it is today. And I honestly feel like it's a great show on Tuesday nights. It's one of my favorite things that I've ever done, honestly. But you only get one of those opportunities. And a lot of our audience has been maintained through that first episode with him and I. And it's one of the most popular shows in the entire community. But you only get one. If we shit the bed, people are going to be like, "Ah, fuck this shit." I'm a big fan of first impressions. And apparently Tegan Nox, the former Tegan Nox, Nixon Newell, and her significant other, Miranda Alize, they walked out of AEW Collision. Now, this happened on November 8th, this past weekend, and their walkout has now caused controversy. PW Insider originally reported that Miranda Alize and the former Tegan Nox, Nixon Newell, refused to lose to Anna Jay and Tay Conti. So they get this match a week before it was a backstage segment, I believe, with Lexi Nair, and they set the match up. This was clearly set up to position Anna Jay, and Tay Conti here for the tag team title tournament because more than likely they would be put in position to lose to then Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne. Penelope Ford got injured. She was replaced by Marina Shafir, and now Shafir and Megan Bayne, doesn't make any sense, are now in the tag team title tournament. So Fightful Select has heard that actually was not the case, that it's not the case where they refused to lose to Anna Jay and Tay Conti. Instead, the duo requested more than 3 minutes that were planned for the match. However, they were told by then that the time for the show had been budgeted out and completely set for the 2 hours. Fightful was told that the two then left the show about an hour before it started. There was an immediate and immense reaction internally from AEW personalities and staff. One AEW staffer told Fightful that both Newell and Alize are talented, but that there was a push to help Newell out after she revealed she wasn't getting many bookings. Another said that they were disappointed to hear about the situation, as this seemed out of character for Newell specifically. Maya World and Hyon were provided the opportunity to fill out the role in short notice to go up against TJ. So they got the notice. They were there, I believe, for a Ring of Honor taping, and they got a lot of praise for filling in last minute. They took the opportunity and ran with it, because how much time on national television has Maya World and Hyon got with any promotion, period? They looked at it as a way to make a good first impression. Fightful were told that they were over the moon about the last-minute opportunity when it didn't look like they would be used. That's another problem. Talent's brought into these shows, they're not used, begging for opportunities in minutes or seconds on television, only to be brought in to do what? Sit in catering and do nothing. That's another story for a different day. AEW sources we spoke to claimed if Nixon and Miranda did say they'd rather other talent get the opportunity, things would have ended up a lot better. But they ended up just complaining that their time was short, felt like it wasn't for them, and then said, you know what, we're going to peace out of here. Goodbye. AEW sources and talent reached out and claimed this wasn't the first issue with Nixon Newell in AEW, as there is conflicting information emerging about how the debut match went as well. Alize and Newell competed against Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir. Word made its way around the locker room that Newell wasn't happy that the match was being constructed as it was. One of the points of contentions was that Megan Bayne needed to sell for Newell and Alize, which at that point, you're trying to establish a new dominant tag team, a team that wasn't really slated for the original version of the tag team title tournament. AEW wanted to make sure Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir were a dominant team because they're not going to win their side of the bracket. So they wanted to make it at least somewhat believable. So they basically, Nixon, Newell, and Alize were put in there to put over Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir as a dominant pairing, being that they are not a legit tag team. It's a random pairing to make sure Megan Bayne stays in the tournament because AEW wants Megan Bayne in the tournament. And she's the only woman on that side of the bracket that would give any sense of believability that they could beat Mina and Toni Storm. So that's the whole point of them being in the tournament, and that's the whole point of putting them over. I don't understand why Nixon Newell and Alize didn't understand that. Word made round in the locker room that Newell wasn't happy that the match was being constructed the way that it was. So there was a point here where it was said Megan Bayne selling for Newell, which at that point of establishing a new dominant team wasn't really a decision Megan Bayne could make on her own. AEW talent usually know to clear that with coaches or producers when facing unsigned talent. One longtime friend of Newell chalked it up to Newell being excited about her debut and then disappointed that things would end so quick. Another said that it felt like Newell wanted to get the match over with because of how things were being set up. Now, I watched the match just for context, and it looked like in that match, it very much looked like that Alize and Tegan Nox, Nixon Newell, almost, from my point of view, sandbagged Megan Bayne, because there was a double German suplex spot, and it looked like they both tried to sandbag Megan Bayne. So they went with the match, they got everybody involved, and then when they were in that moment, they tried to slightly sabotage the spot with Megan Bayne because they didn't want to make Megan Bayne look dominant. And they wanted more time and they wanted to look better. Whatever the case may be. So another source indicated that the frustration on Megan Bayne's face during the match was legitimate, as she was frustrated with what appeared to be a lack of cooperation on some of the spots, one of which I just talked to you about. Fightful did reach out to Nixon Newell, who denied there was any disagreement on the previous week's show, saying we had no disagreement. Miranda and I are really the only ones that have details about how yesterday went. When we elaborated on details of the disagreement, we'd not gained a response as of the time of publishing this article, says Fightful Select. We can confirm that Nixon Newell was also backstage at AEW Dynamite on November 5th. There was an update to this story. Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize went on their Twitch stream and confirmed Fightful's report that they were at AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, but there was nothing for them on the show. Why would there be? AEW's got a ton of other things right now that they're building towards. They're building towards Blood and Guts, and they're building towards Full Gear, none of which include Alize and Tegan Nox. So they went on their Twitch stream, said that there was nothing for them on the show. They came in on Saturday for Collision and were given a match and say they presented ideas and were informed of the short match. Why anybody in this case, like Tegan Nox and Miranda Alize, why they are presenting ideas, why they are allowed to present ideas when they are there to simply be enhancement talent, I don't know. It could be one of the many reasons why it seems so volatile backstage and why there seems to be these issues backstage in AEW. None of these people should have any say. You are there, you're invited, you are told to do something, you go do it, and then you go home. That is it. I don't really understand that. They decided that after the promo they did, that wouldn't benefit anybody. They say they told AEW that they appreciated it and that there wasn't any negativity or a harsh walkout, and spoke to everybody involved, and that they were told they were free to leave if they wanted. They also claim that many people there were in agreement that 3 minutes was too short for them. Also, when asked about the incident, going back to the 3 minutes, AEW has this thing where they'll put two random fucking people together and they'll give them 15 fucking minutes. So I don't understand why you couldn't give these women double the amount of time as if it would be a bother to them. They don't mind giving 15, 20 minutes to randoms every week. I mean, I've seen glorified enhancement matches go quadruple the amount of time in which it should go. But these women, especially Tegan, who's been on WWE TV and is an established talent, can't get any more than 3 minutes. So it's a little weird that AEW wants to do when they want to do it, but in this case, they didn't want to do it. I don't understand it. I mean, it's just so wishy-washy over there. So when asked about the incident during her Twitch stream, Nixon Newell addressed the harassment that she got head-on, stating that she had woken up to death threats because of this situation from fans upset about her decision. Yes, that's completely normal. It is normal. I joke, but it is normal because that's the AEW fan base. They've been cultivated to think that way. They've been cultivated to feel that way and act that way. And they are going to act because that is what the company does. They follow the lead of the company. They see others attack. They see others in that locker room attack random fans on social media for blatant criticism of the show because it sucks. And everybody's got to get their swords and shields out to defend the fucking company. And then the fans get involved, and they do it because they feel like they're a part of something. It is a vicious, vicious disease that is the AEW fan base. She discussed the severity of the online backlash, explaining that the messages came from members of the internet wrestling community. Yes, the AEW fan base. It's lovely waking up to death threats again for standing up for what we believe in and looking out for the company, Nixon Newell said during her Twitch stream. I had multiple death threats today. I got 3 today, and it's always with the IWC. So it is what it is. She went on to reveal that she had received multiple threatening messages, adding to this type of harassment was not new to her, though the recent wave has been particularly disturbing. She also claimed that she has about 1 year left in professional wrestling. The backstage reaction to this, coming from Meltzer and The Observer, he touched upon this live on his show, and he said, and I quote, "Let me tell you something. I heard from a lot of people, and what was amazing was I was hearing from people as the show was going on. People weren't even waiting until the show was over. Maybe Tony told them that there was no hard feelings. Hard feelings is the wrong word, bad blood. I don't know how you would term it. But there were so many people that were like, what a stupid thing to do. That's the one thing I heard over and over and over again. What a stupid thing to do." So she had complained, did Nixon Newell, back in the summer of 2025, that she had a severe lack of bookings since her release from WWE in 2024. On November 9, we obviously touched upon the Twitch stream, and then on November 8th, we touched upon the fact that they walked out. And apparently, according to The Observer, they also added that Hyon and Maya World reportedly gained points internally for stepping up last minute. So, Wrestling Observer and Fightful's report, along with PW Insider's report, all kind of correlates, and they are all on the same page. You know, I don't really understand the mentality of certain pro wrestlers. I don't. I genuinely feel bad for Tegan Nox because she had this huge fanfare in WWE, especially with the way she competed in the Mae Young Classic way back in the day. She got injured, and WWE made a big deal about her recovery process and her rehabilitation. She was, I believe, actually slated to win one of those Mae Young Classics. Michael Cole always spoke highly about her. He was excited about her. I don't know what had happened there. I really don't. I know she went back to NXT. She got called up. I remember when she got called up and Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart were paired as a tag team. Shotzi, I believe, at the time was teaming with Ember Moon, Athena. And they were a tag team. And then they got called up and Vince randomly paired them together as if clearly he didn't know what the fuck was going on down there. I don't know why he thought to pair both of them together. But clearly they were not tag team. They were not a tag team. They were two singles wrestlers operating in a tag team, but Vince had no plans for them, so he put them in a tag team. And then even that, pairing them together, it went nowhere because they both eventually got released. Tegan Nox first, and then Shotzi came a little bit later down the line. She has not found her footing. She has not found her place since leaving WWE in 2024. She gets an opportunity here after complaining that she had a severe lack of bookings. Now, why is she had a severe lack of booking? I can't really explain that. I think she's very good. I think there's something there. Personally, as a fan, from fan to pro wrestler, when I see her wrestle, when I see her charisma, her vibe, I think there's something there. I thought there was something there when we watched her on WWE television. But there was no direction. There was no planning. There was no creative. Is there something going on with her as to why she's got a severe lack of bookings? With the behavior that we've seen here, it may lead to why she hasn't gotten any bookings since getting her release in late 2024. Is she the problem? What aren't we seeing? She may be the bane of why she isn't getting any bookings because word gets around, people kind of see and hear about what's going on, and then they don't book. You mean to tell me with the indies still thriving at the level it is right now and all the work that's out there available, you can't get bookings? I find that very difficult to believe why anybody wouldn't want to book Tegan Nox. She's a notable name. She's a former WWE superstar. She's appeared on AEW television. What's the issue there? The issue may be her. And again, we don't know. We don't know. I'm just saying it's a possibility. We don't know. You get an opportunity after complaining that there's been a severe lack of bookings on your end. AEW graciously gives you an opportunity. Graciously gives you an opportunity. You show up on their television, their Saturday show, but it is an opportunity. You could have easily been placed on Ring of Honor television to be seen in front of nobody, but they opted to put you on AEW Collision with no video package, no hype package, no introduction. You just willingly walk onto an interview with Anna Jay and Tay Conti, and you present yourself as if everybody is supposed to know who you are. There was absolutely no planning for your debut on AEW television. They just threw you in there, and everybody there expected the fans to know who you were. Do you know how many people would kill for that opportunity, for that 60 seconds of TV time? Do you understand that you walked into a company that right now Tony employs how many fucking wrestlers, and about 15 to 20% of them are being used every single week, with everybody either wasting away, waiting for an opportunity, or buried somewhere on Ring of Honor? I don't understand how you are gifted an opportunity to bypass Ring of Honor, to be placed on AEW Collision, and then you want to complain about the fact that your match only went 3 minutes. That's 3 minutes more than Deonna Purrazzo's getting on AEW television. That's 3 minutes more than anybody else is getting on AEW television. Taya Valkyrie, Thunder Rosa, Camille, and whoever else is not appearing on AEW television for one reason or another. That is 3 minutes more than someone else is not getting on AEW television. They gave it to you. And then you want to complain when they gave you 3 minutes. I don't understand what's wrong with pro wrestlers today. I don't. In this case, Tegan Nox and Miranda Alize. Now, I don't know if what they said is true. I mean, there's a lot of skewing. I don't know what to believe in the fake wrestling media. Fightful could put something out because Miranda and Nixon, who clearly are friendly with everybody on the Fightful side, more than likely, they gave a statement to make sure that their narrative got out there, and they want their truth out there. Now, we don't know AEW's side. Nobody from AEW is going to speak on this situation. They don't give a shit. They don't care. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. Oh, yeah, Tony Khan said it was okay. There's no hard feelings. He told them it was okay to go home. Do you understand who you're working for? You've just made an enemy now that is never going to go back on that at all. You are basically in Guantanamo Bay now. You are with the rest of them locked away. You will never walk back into AEW. You will never get television time on their shows. You will never get a match on AEW Dynamite, Collision, or Ring of Honor ever again. So how do you find this to be beneficial to you? Do you think this is Naomi and Sasha Banks walking out of Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis? This is Nixon Newell and Miranda Alize. Who? Exactly. You think you're better off without AEW. You think you're better than others there who are wishing and wanting for the same opportunity. You think who you are. Meanwhile, I've been anti-AEW for a very long time, though I want them to succeed. You just made yourselves 2 embarrassments in front of a company that is known for embarrassing themselves on several occasions. And you got me siding with AEW over this situation. I don't really get how you find that this is productive for you. Pro wrestlers are their own entity. Pro wrestlers are their own brand. You are a walking billboard. You are basically everything that comes with a business. You wear many hats in that business because you're an employee of one. Did you honestly think that this was best for your brand? To walk onto AEW Collision, where others are begging for television time, where others are begging for Tony Khan's time, never to get it. He opted to give you a smidgen of his time and said, all right, put these 2 on television. And then what do? You complain about 3 minutes to put over a team that is only going to lose in this tournament. And then you walk out because it's not what you want. And then you play it off as if, oh yeah, they told us to go home. They said it was all right for us to go home. What they theoretically did is ruin their careers to a point where WWE is never going to come calling. AEW is never going to come calling again. Ring of Honor is never going to come calling. So where exactly are you going with a severe lack of bookings? I guess Twitch and being an online content creator is the only avenue that you got right now. I believe she even opened up an OnlyFans account, did Tegan Nox, because she was getting a severe lack of bookings. Instead of making this opportunity where they invited you to interrupt Tay J's promo, instead of making an opportunity and doing what needed to be done for Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir, and for doing what you were told with Tay J, that's 3 opportunities you were given, more so than many others there. Instead of going about it and doing what you should have done and be a model employee and do what is asked of you with the opportunity that could come after that, putting that good vibe out there to management where they may invite you back, especially now in a world where AEW has women's tag team championships and they're going to need teams. You opted to throw that all away. For what? To stand on your own morals because you didn't get television time or the amount of television time that you wanted because you thought you were better than 3 minutes? Don't you look at Maya World and High On Now and say to yourselves, man, we fucked up. We made a mistake. They made the most of their opportunity. That could have been us. Who's to say that next week they don't invite you back to Collision? Who's to say they don't promote you to Dynamite? Who's to say that next year in the Women's Blood and Guts that Tegan Nox, Nixon Newell, and Miranda Alize aren't in the 2nd ever Women's Blood and Guts? Who's to say that they're not challenging for the women's tag team titles on AEW Dynamite, Fyter Fest, or fucking one of their PLEs, pay-per-views? If there's anything that came out of this situation, it's that pro wrestlers are the biggest marks for themselves. Sometimes they don't think logically with the brand in mind or the business in mind. And they've ruined their now future opportunities because they felt like they should have got more time in a squash match that was always supposed to always supposed to be a squash match, meant to be a squash match, to help the existing teams in the tournament. So what exactly came out of this? How are you looking at this as a good thing? All you need to look at is when you see these two and this situation, you know what not to do when you are invited to a pro wrestling show with the hopes of getting more work, more pay, and more opportunity. Walk out like Tegan Nox and Miranda Alize did. You'll be guaranteed no work. And now because of what you did, it's going to make the rounds. And this one action is going to affect every other decision from a pro wrestling promoter to bring you in or not. Because they know this situation and you walked out and you were unhappy with the powers that be. Again, I don't see how this was beneficial to their brand as professional wrestlers. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. If you did enjoy this video, I would greatly appreciate a thumbs up and a comment down below. Please hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and go check out all the great content on the channel already on the homepage. We will be back tonight with another beginning of the week live stream, Monday Night Raw. Apparently, it's John Cena in Boston, and there are major plans for John Cena, rumored John Cena and Dominic Mysterio tonight for the Intercontinental Championship. And I know I'm going to have a lot to say about that tonight, so join me live at 11 o'clock tonight. Monday Night Raw post show right here on Off the Script. Hit that thumbs up, and I will see you back live tonight for the stream covering Monday Night Raw right here on Off the Script. I'll see you guys later.